So we're on Multiview 3, 4, and 5 now. And if you go to my teacher site, you can find those wherever that went. Let's see, roof pitch chart. 3, 4, and 5, which are right here. A note for you is that 5, I will give you a metric template. It'll have the same layers and everything else, but it will be in metric units because if you choose to do number 7, you will need metric units for that as well. So I'll make that quick change, but everything else will operate and look identical, so you don't have to change any AutoCAD settings. Okay. And then one other important thing to notice here is that with both of these drawings, you were given the front, the left, and the top, okay, or the front, left, and top. So it's not fundamentally different, and both of these objects are completely symmetrical. It just only affects where you place it, right? So like in this object right here, multi-view number 2, we had the front, and then to the right of the front, we had the right, and then the top, okay? So that's that. And I do want to make one note too for, I've got some folks still who are kind of sketching, and somehow, I've had some people that could put in some way this object and this object and this object and fit it all in these yellow boxes. Okay, these yellow boxes were just here when we were doing our sketch and doodle and logo exercises so that you didn't lose stuff on a page. So there's really no reason for these yellow boxes anymore. So don't try to fit the stuff in because it just may not. Okay. So to get started, I will do Multiview 3, and this is going to also deal with a new tool that we call Dimension. And so with Dimension, I might actually chop this into 2 videos. I'm just thinking, but Dimension up here, you have several dimension tools. Okay, and this is where we can post sizes to when it says linear, that would be a distance down a straight line, or aligned would be the distance down that line, ignoring a change based on angle. So it ignores like the hypotenuse factor. Angular would be, and this is really good to hover over these things where the bike pops up. So that's helpful. Radius we use for just portions of curves, but we don't use it for circles. And then diameter we do use for circles. Jogged and ordinate, I've never used those. And arc length, I've only used that when I built a boat. So that's that. So in getting started looking at this first one, the grids are a little bit dark here, but again, you want to think about the object as a whole. And again, if you were to have to carve this out of aluminum, wood, clay, cheese, plastic, styrofoam, you got to look at the biggest this object ever is in every direction. So if I go this way, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Across the width of the object is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the height of the object is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to start drawing this on the left side of the object. And in this one, I don't use, a lot of times I would start this way and I would go, okay, so it's 4 high at its maximum, and then it's 6 wide at its maximum, and then it's 4 high again, and then I would connect the dots. And my typical method would be I would use the offset tool, offset 1, and then I would offset 2 because I see this other little shelf happening. And then what I would typically do is trim out this and then trim that out. And that's just perfectly fine. This object is just straightforward enough that I could just draw a base of 6, come up 2, and I see that I'm left over with 1 up here in this little top portion. So that means 6 minus 1 is 5. I could come up 2 more. Shoot, I'm going to be over here, come over 1, and then connect the dots. Okay, does not matter how I got to that point. That's completely your style to get there. Okay, so that's the front, or I'm sorry, that would actually be the left side of the object. So I'm going to scoot this over. And I'm going to use my construction line trick, which is going to be just a line spacer. So I'm just going to shoot a little short line over there. And I'm going to go ahead now and attack the front. But in this case, I'm going to do this and I'm going to look at it from, okay, the whole thing is a maximum height of 4 and a maximum width of 4. So I'm going to kind of go back to my method of draw the box and then subtract away from it. So I go up 4, over 4, down 4, and connect the dots. Okay. I've got some kind of notch stuff happening. And in either case, there is this 2-inch section missing on this base as well as on this vertical piece. So that tells me something. So what I'm going to do is offset 1 from the left and 1 from the right, which leaves me in this space. Get rid of this. It leaves me 2 inches between here and here. Right? So now if I offset 2, just stay on that offset of 2 from the bottom. You can see that this completely aligns. The top of this shelf is completely aligned right there. And now if I offset 1 from the top, okay, then we get to this point. So that being said, we got a little bit of trimming to do, okay? I don't see anything intersecting here, and I don't see anything intersecting here. And I actually don't see, let's see, take the easy stuff away first. And I don't see anything intersecting there, nor do I see anything intersecting there. So that looks to be the front of the object. Okay. And now I'm going to go back and use my construction line trick again. This is one thing I keep writing over and over is like align the objects, put the top above the front. So, you know, the more you get the hang of this, the more you can realize that you don't have to keep drawing stuff. You don't have to keep typing in numbers. That's a 4-inch line. It's always going to be 4. The object is always going to be 6. So I can just offset 6, right? And that puts me right there. I could then just connect the dots, draw a line, copy that line. I mean, you could have just done 4 by 6. It doesn't matter. Again, it's your call completely. Okay. So I'm going to match properties and get that together. Okay. So going up this way, look either at the drawing back here or at what you've already found out. This little stick up in the air piece comes inward 1 inch. And this little notch that's out of the base comes back 2 inches. So I'm going to offset 2 inches. Okay. Oh, space. Start remembering those hotkeys. Offset 2 inches going backward. All right. Now, again, you have 2 options. You could use offset again, or you could just use that method of projection where you come all the way up from that point, which gets you to here. And you just copy this from this point, which gets you to here. And that tells me that what's between the yellow lines has to be removed, at least right here, right? And then I don't see anything that's cutting across this that way. The yellow lines can go away. And then what about here? Nope, I don't see anything this way. So that works too, okay? And then just match properties and come back and do this. If you didn't like that method, don't worry about it then. I can go ahead and do it just as easily from here and use that offset method if you're using that style. Go back to an object line. And again, I can just do 4 up 6 over 4. Back to the beginning. Get rid of your construction line. Notice that these little projections coming forward and up are coming forward and up 1 inch. Coming across the back, it's 1 inch. And coming across the front, it is 2 inches. and then just systematically go ahead and trim things that you don't need, which are these. Okay. So that's front, right, and top, and I'll go ahead and quickly, I'll go to my dimension layer, and I'm going to make the second video actually on this so that I can show dimensioning and then hidden lines and center lines. So again, this is front. If it's not all caps, it's not right. And scale it, and pay attention to the scale that I'm at. I'm not making this a specific text height. I'm making it about that big. If it's bigger than that, it's kind of overwhelming. And I do want to keep stuff centered. And you know what? In this case, because you are going to be dimensioning, you're probably going to want to move your text slightly away from the object. Okay, so you're going to want to create a little bit more spacing, but I'll come back to that here shortly. All right, so that's the layout and the way to draw Multiview 3, and then I'll come back and do the dimensioning portion here in a minute.